So this video is about one of the most prevalent cognitive distortions that exist in the brain and in society, and I refer to it as the availability heuristic, but it's more easily remembered as Wisiati, or what you see is all there is. And this is perhaps one of the most annoying and problem-causing cognitive distortion or irrational neurological, psychological thought process in the brain. It is the reason why people believe that planes crash more than they do, and they may not have this belief, but at the bottom of their hearts, they feel like when they get into a plane, there's more of a likelihood that it's going to crash than there really is. And this is due to the fact that we don't see the millions of flights that actually make it successfully to the ground. We only see, or we more often see, movies depicting problems on planes, or honestly anything else that depicts problems on planes or planes crashing. Another hot topic is bullies. On the outside, all you see is the asshole that's on the outside, the bully, the person who's being hated on, the person who's hating on somebody else, the person who's beating up a little kid, somebody that you like, somebody who's evil. But one of the things that you don't see is the fact that the bully is more likely than not at home being mistreated by parents or no parents at all, or bad parents, and they're more likely than not misguided, mistreated, mistaught, perceived poorly. And this is the reason why they lash out, because they're only caregivers who they have been taught and who they want to learn from and emulate, because that's what we do as human beings, is we typically emulate our parents. And finally, news. And this is going to be the main focus of our video, because news is highly tied into racism. And news channels use the concept of Wisiati, what you see is all there is, heavily to their advantage. And the reason for this is because a news station has your attention, and your attention can be directed any which way once they have it. News can tell you anything they want. So what they do is, and they will, news stations have an obligation to give you news, and they more likely than not will be giving you news, but it's more like a form of not telling the whole truth, which is why there's such a disparity between, let's just say, Fox News and CNN. They both have news, they both have, for the most part, accurate news. Sometimes things are pulled out of context, we all know that. And a lot of the time that is what the difference is. You only see half the truth. If you really want to know the whole truth, watch a news station that's liberal heavy news versus more conservative one like Fox. And you'll get more likely than not the full story, or at least a better picture. I'd like to point out too, and this is kind of digressing a bit, but let's just take Donald Trump for example. Donald Trump is a human being. Donald Trump wants probably the same things that you want, even though he acts like an asshole, which some news stations depict. What you see is all there is. So if you think that Donald Trump is an asshole and you absolutely hate him because of what you see on TV, it's because all the things that you see are heavily repeated over and over and over again. This is a form of brainwashing, but you wouldn't really want to call it that, because we all like to believe in free will, which we for the most part have, but it's a lot more limited than we believe. And that would be a really good example. Donald Trump probably craves love and attention. Now think about it from Donald Trump's perspective. If you want Donald Trump, the president of this country, to change the country for the better, then would you want Donald Trump to believe that he's changing a country of people that hate him deeply, or changing a country filled with people who still care about him as a person? Now, if I was in that position, I feel like I'd be less emotionally inclined to want to help people who absolutely hated me. It just doesn't feel right. It's not something that I want to do. But he's still going to do it anyways. Thank God we have thank God we have 3 different branches of government, because it would drive somebody crazy if one person had all that pressure around him. Now back to the topic. I think the news, and when I say I think, I'm like almost absolutely certain that the news propagates racism and prejudice. So racism really, and prejudices in general, really exist because stereotypes are one of the things that we unfortunately see the most. And this is mostly due to movies and TV. When you really think about the amount of interactions that you have with somebody of a different race, it's more, unless you're like, and this has almost everything to do with proximity, your actual proximity you have to other individuals. So where are you going to get all your information from? Well, you're going to get it from the news, and you're going to get it from TV, and you're going to get it from movies. And it's not really so much news as it is just interaction. So your mind migrates in a way to whatever is being seen on TV, right? So a show, however an individual of a different race is acting, of any race is acting, what you start to do is you generalize. Your brain wants to learn, your brain wants to live, your brain wants to protect itself and everyone around it who you care about. So what really matters is just taking in the information. You're not really going to be sitting there criticizing it all the time. News stations. Now, this pisses me off more than anything else, because the truth is that once something happens enough times that there is a very well-founded statistic for it, it is no longer news. Murders, mass murders, maybe not mass, but anything, like even mass murders, once something happens enough times, it is no longer news. It is just fear-mongering. It puts the focus on something that doesn't need the focus on it. I understand that some people believe that it's important to pay respects to whoever was harmed, but all that's doing is it's causing more problems. So, for example, when you have somebody in a local news network who, let's just say you have an Indian man who shot some grocery store clerk, whatever it might be. That's just an example. And when you catch the guy, you throw that guy's face on the TV. That's stupid. That is stupid. Your viewers are now going to take that information and they're now going to put him in the bucket of, put all the people who are also minorities, marginalized cultures and backgrounds and races into that bucket with him. And it's just going to add to it. It's just one more straw in the haystack. And what's going to wind up happening is you're going to have all of these memories, the things that you see that are falsely depicting how things actually are. But unfortunately, what you see is all there is. So it's really important to look past that and understand that, the actual statistics of things. Another one is, races aside, rape culture. If anything, it's due to a lack of education. There's nobody out there. Rape is bad. You're really not gonna find a guy out there who's gonna be like, oh, yeah, rape is pretty. So I guess I'm on the fence about rape. No, that doesn't happen. Rape is bad. All relevant people know this. All relevant people feel this. It's not a thing. But if you're going to advertise rape culture as a problem, then you're going to have people who are afraid because that's all they're seeing, and what you see is all there is, because that's how the brain responds to things. It's not the internet and TV and these things that aren't really interactions, but they're perceptions. They're all new to the brain. They're all new to the mind. The mind's not used to it. It's still an old mind and brain. This is all very new, and we have to understand this, because moving forward, we can't expect people. And I think, though, it would be really nice if we could expect people to constantly critically analyze what their thoughts are and how they're feeling about things versus how things actually are. I think that would be an amazing goal, but I think it's up to the people who have the microphone to really understand the power that they have and to use it responsibly. News is not a triple homicide anymore. There's like, everyone's dying. Like, I think like 550 people died while in the filming of this, while I was filming this in the past 10 minutes. Like, it's not news. But if you're going to be, as a community, we're going to be more afraid if we see more death, if we see more people being held responsible, being as a representation of a larger group. It's just going to tear us apart. So is any of that rational? No. But what you see is all there is.